Now, the world of productivity apps is seemingly endless. You've got to-do lists, note-taking apps, Kanban boards, time trackers, Pomodoro timers. There are extensions to block websites to nudge you, even to threaten you if that's your thing. At work, we have apps to talk to coworkers, to avoid coworkers, to check your email, to cut out your email. Especially with the rise of remote work, now more than ever, we're constantly glued to our screens and addicted to our tools. With every single new app that pops up, people like me, who you could call digital maximalists, are always wondering, what if this is the one tool that'll finally make me productive? That never happens though. So I give in to that new app and try it out. I spend hours setting it up, telling myself that the investment will be worth it in the long run. Yet 9 out of 10 times I always end up either frustrated or disappointed with yet another app cluttering my phone and hours of my life just gone. These apps are designed to help us be more productive and organized, often have the opposite effect. The more apps we have, the less happy and less productive we become. So in today's video, I want to explore that irony of productivity apps and talk about my own struggle with digital clutter and explore things I can do to have a more digitally minimalistic life. Yeah, let's get to it. Now, productivity apps are supposed to just be tools to help you get stuff done, just like a pen and paper or your laptop. Apps like Notion and Slack and Jira were designed to simplify the busy tasks that bog us down, so we can focus on our work. And of course, apps like these have completely changed the game, leading their popularity to skyrocket, and people like me to make videos about them on the internet. And startups realize this too, which is why we now have so many different Notion clones and Kanban apps and project management software that all are a little bit different and have their own promises to double or triple your productivity and simplify your life. But that's the irony of it all. Despite what they claim, these apps cannot change our lives. They can't buy back our time. They're just tools, and it's our job to use them to actually get work done. Now, when I was researching this video, I found a really nice anecdote that perfectly illustrates this phenomenon. It goes something like this. So imagine this beautiful ship docked off the coast of Greece. All is going well, but suddenly the engine stops working. The owners bring experts from all over to evaluate the problem, but with no luck. Eventually, they bring in this lovely old man with decades of experience. He carefully inspects the ship, assesses the situation, and gets to work. A hammer swings out of his leather bag, and after a little tap-tap, voila, it's fixed. It seems simple enough. But when he handed the owners a $10,000 bill, they were appalled. And that bill read, tapping a hammer worth $1, knowing where to tap, worth $9,999. In our case, the hammer or the tool chest are the apps that we use. It's not about the hammer itself or being able to hit it, but rather knowing the best way to utilize it to get the job done. Everyone has access to these tools, but without the right system or methodology to use them, these tools are useless. Now, as for me, in so many of my videos, I'm always saying, so I've been on the search for the perfect, insert app name here, app for nearly 10 years. I've never been content with what I have. I always had the sense of FOMO, of maybe I'm missing out on something. Maybe there's something better out there. And this probably makes me a digital maximalist, aka someone who justifies their behavior by listing all of the potential benefits they would miss if they began cutting services from their life. And it's interesting because before I knew that all of these apps existed, I was quite content with my simple yet suboptimal setup. But now that I know that all of these apps exist, I'm quick to find faults in my setup. My patience shrinks every millisecond longer it takes for a Notion page to load, or for every small feature that's missing in an app that I'm testing. In fact, even earlier this year, I spent so many nights trying to switch to Obsidian. When that didn't work, I did the same for another app. Yet the experience in reality never quite matched up to the idea that I had in my head, making me just more and more disappointed. I've fallen deep into that trap of being eternally unhappy with the tools that I have and wasting so much time trying to find something better. Yet here I am, back where I started. And since food is always on my mind, at least, let's think of all of these productivity apps as tools in our kitchen. Sure, to get started with cooking, you'll need a knife, a chopping board, and maybe some pots and pans. But the knives aren't going to be doing the cooking, you are. Your cabinets can be overflowing with as seen on TV gadgets and appliances and tools, But maybe all you can make is Maggie or a PB&J. I guess what I'm saying is that it's not the tools that make you productive. They're just there to support you in your efforts. All you need is one good knife and a simple pan to cook like Gordon Ramsay. Likewise, all you really need is just 1 or 2 productivity apps to help you get stuff done. Now, this might just be me, but I'd always get so caught up in trying to find the perfect app and trying to optimize every single part of my life. I'd end up with one app for notes, one to write tasks, one to manage my calendar, another for emails, for homework assignments, for vision boards. Without being mindful of my goals and the capabilities that my tools already have, I just end up piling more and more without stopping to evaluate what I really need. I'd spend so much time setting up these apps and maintaining and nurturing them every single day, but I could never actually get to work. So the first step to being more mindful and minimal about my digital life is to remind myself that one single app is never going to make me more productive and it'll never change my life. That's just a marketing gimmick, right? Instead, it's just the habits that I build around my work that will actually help me make the most of the tools that I already have. So this all makes me a pretty good candidate for digital minimalism, which is basically this philosophy where you focus your time online on just a few carefully curated and optimized activities that support the things that you value. And it means that you're perfectly okay missing out on everything else, which will be hard. Of course, I've been talking about this from the perspective of productivity apps, but the same goes for social media. There's just a continuously evolving landscape of apps, from TikTok to Clubhouse to Robinhood, that's just hard to say no. To combat this, Cal Newport introduced 3 principles in his book, which is aptly called digital minimalism. Number 1, clutter is costly. The more apps and devices we have, the more unhappy we'll be and the less we'll gain from each one. Number 2, optimization is vital. It's not about the apps that we have, but the systems that we have to optimize how we use them. And 3, intentionality is satisfying. Saying no and sticking to the rules and habits that we set out makes this all worth it and will buy back our time and our peace of mind. This sounds pretty broad though, so I want to pick some specific goals I can actually implement in my own life. So first, I just need to clear the clutter. Just like with physical clutter around the house, my phone can get pretty disorganized if I don't tend to it every few weeks. For example, instead of drunk texting, what I do is download random apps at 1 a.m. in the morning in bed. So what I should start by doing is just deleting all of these random apps that I don't absolutely need. But even with limited apps, I also need to clear my mental clutter of this compulsion to always be checking my phone. And it's crazy because even on days when I feel like I didn't really use my phone that much, I still clock in around 3 hours minimum. And when I'm feeling bored or kind of down, that goes up to 6 hours of usage. That is so bad. And some steps that I'm taking to curb this are setting time limits on certain distracting apps like Instagram and keeping my screen time widget on my homepage so I'm always aware of how much I'm using my phone. One more drastic measure that I want to take sometime soon is a complete detox. One for social media and another one for content consumption like YouTube and Netflix. Now, whenever I watch Mac Diavella's detox videos, I always think, this sounds nice, but I don't think I have the willpower to actually stick with that. But I should at least give it a try because in my past experiences, detoxes have been really useful in just resetting my mind and helping me build a more positive relationship with that addictive thing, whether it's coffee or perhaps social media. Now for principle 2, I'm working on optimizing my existing system to make it work for me with just 2 main apps. Now first is Notion, but Notion is far from perfect. It's got major security flaws, speed issues, and a pretty crappy mobile app. But it works and I'm used to it. So to further optimize it, I just cleared out pages that I don't use anymore, reordered what was left behind, and even swapped out some emojis to, I guess, jazz things up. And for smaller, more day-to-day things, I use Things. Now I did make a video on this which I'll link up above, but basically I made this work for me by using it for far more than just to-do lists. Theoretically, I could be using a different app for my shopping list and my watch list, but I just keep everything that is small and easy to jot down in this app. So this just goes to show that digital minimalism isn't about stripping down your apps to the absolute bare minimum. Instead, it's just being intentional about the apps that you choose to use and making them as efficient as possible for you. And that's really why I make all these videos about random apps, so that I can test them out for you so you don't have to. So hopefully that means that you can just pick your perfect app and just get to work. But ultimately, again, it just comes down to balance. All of these apps are designed to help us make our lives more easy, so you definitely should not be complicating them more than they already are. I know for some people, in order to achieve complete digital minimalism, they might revert back to just pen and paper or their notes app, or for others, they might downsize to 1 or 2 apps. Whatever it is, it's just important to find that balance for you so that we're not bogged down by our tools, but rather empowered by them. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Now, I know I'm a bit of an oddball because I'm so enamored by this world of productivity apps. So I want to know whether you resonated with any of these struggles as well, and whether you're planning on implementing any of these goals for yourself. And also, if you want me to document my detox of social media or online content, please let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big like and subscribe. Follow me on social media if you haven't already, and I'll see ya in the next one. Digital minimalism. Oh god. I've been on a search for